everybody, it's Kelly. Good to be here with you. So good to be here with you. I thought that over the course of the next few weeks I could share with you some ideas for alignments. This idea that's been really lighting me up lately is fortifying what's already there. Beginning with the understanding or the assumption that, you're okay, you're already strong, you're already open, and that our work is finding an alignment that helps you realize that. And some of this sort of rubs up against the container of what we know to be conventional alignment in the yoga practice. Particularly if you're familiar with any schools or if you've practiced with any schools, which I have, where there's pretty strict adherence to certain alignments. And I'm also examining my own thoughts about that and my own resistance to the idea of a shifting alignment. And so we'll begin with utthita, parsvakonasana, and trikonasana, two essential postures, standing postures. And I'd say that notably the thing that I've been working on changing or shifting is sort of like the rotation of the hips and this idea of lengthening the side body, almost extremely lengthening the side body. And I'll explain what I mean in a second. But there's some construction in my neighborhood and I want to close the window. Apologize about that. So let's start by coming in to utthita parsvakonasana. So we'll start at the top of your mat. Maybe step your right foot back. And we'll press the ball of that foot into the floor. Turn the heel in and press it back. And so right away I'm making some changes to the way my body aligns. Historically, the way I practiced was to really open through the hips, almost like an external rotation happening through the hips, drawing this right hip open, which really pulls at the left knee. And so now I'm allowing myself to go with the way my body naturally curves and the way that my hips naturally rotate in order to sort of sustain and protect other parts. And so you might begin by just using your hands to feel your body, feel the rotation of the hip. When you do one thing, what happens in other places? Notice the kind of contact that your body's making with the earth. Consciously make contact. Toes, can I feel them? Balls of the feet, can I feel those? Heels, can I feel those? And then we might work into something like Virabhadrasana 2, letting the movement sort of originate in the back leg. I've been experimenting with this lately and I really like it. And one way that I'm doing that is keeping a hand on the back leg. It's like I'm fondling myself here. And extending the front arm. And then maybe just, kind of exhaling in and out of Virabhadrasana 2 a few times. And all the while, I'm investigating. I'm noticing what feels good, what feels right. And something I'm liking to do right now is this sort of non-aggressive approach to finding upright. So you might take a peek down, make sure you can see your left toe to the inside edge of your left knee. And just notice what natural curves are happening in your body, what natural shapes are taking form. The back leg is strong. The foot's pressing into the earth, so the front leg isn't doing all the work. Pelvis is soft. Bottom of the bowl of the pelvis is soft. Belly is drawing toward the spine, not sucking in. We've established I've said the F word many times about sucking in, but as a way to protect this bindi part of the spine, the lumbar curve, which is a potential weak point. And then from there, just letting the slightest bloom happen in the heart, slightest smile across the collarbones. Never overdoing it. So from here, we'll start to meander toward utthita parsvakonasana. Some of my students right now are keeping their hand on the thigh and bringing the right hand to the right hip. Other students are bending the front elbow, bringing the forearm to the top of the thigh. And then we're doing like a kind of easy opener here, like maybe exhaling and rounding the back and inhaling and arching the back. And doing that a few times and just letting your whole body participate. That's how we find integration, by letting each part have its experience and feeling your way around. And so then the idea here, as we saunter and meander our way in, is that that same softness in the tailbone exists. So we're not like aggressively tucking it under. We're also not, tilting it up toward the sky. So the tailbone, if you think about where your coccyx is, it's sort of like pointing right down, similar line as your right leg, down toward the floor, down, same angle. We want to draw the belly toward the spine. And then see if your heart and your belly can stay in some sort of alignment. Like not aggressively opening through here, but maintaining what seems sustainable. And then finding the rotation of the shoulder that feels natural for you, which might be an internal rotation. It might be a bending of the elbow and a drawing down of the arm. Like find the place where you feel the most like you, and we'll go from there. We'll amplify what naturally feels good and fortify that. Letting the back of the head be soft. Good, so on the second side, what I'll do is I'll be silent and you can just sort of watch my process as I find my way in. So just for educational purposes and as a contrast, here is the way that I used to practice and that I often would like wrench myself into, like And that still feels okay, but there are parts that feel unsustainable, and there are definitely places where I feel pulling. And as I was writing in this post, prior to pregnancy and prior to becoming a mom, I didn't experience this, but I think due to pregnancy hormones, my SI joint was a little loose, as it needs to be to grow and birth a baby. And like that, particularly like the lengthening, ooh yeah, from hip to pit, feels really like, whoo, I might need the chiropractor. So relaxing all of that, and like also like relaxing this grasp on pinky toe foot or pinky toe side of the foot, really pressing into the floor, heart busting. All of that feels like, whew, unsustainable. So now let's try the same thing with trikonasana, triangle pose. And a lot of times at this point, we're approaching trikonasana from parsvakonasana. So we're already maybe here. And we're just sort of meandering. And a lot of students, the way they're practicing is just to kind of keep the forearm there and slide in, continuing to lift up on the kneecap so you don't sort of like sag into it. And then finding again sort of the placement of the shoulder, the rotation that like brings ease to the neck, to the head. Following your hips, just sort of noticing what feels natural here. Maybe exhaling and rounding, inhaling and arching, and then finding neutral, finding sustained neutral, and just noticing what direction your heart's pointing. You might decide to slide your hand down your shin. You might decide to bring it to blocks. And so from here as well, like historically, the alignment the way I would approach would be to like overdo it, to really lengthen from hip to armpit, to really draw the shoulders back. Which feels okay for a little bit, but over time, I don't know if it's sustainable, particularly for the SI joint. And for some of our shoulders, like you'll see some people like getting into it, but you can tell it's like lots of mischief on the neck. So letting everything be supported, but a little fuzzier around the edges and a little more nuanced. And I'll just find my way in on the second side so you can sort of see my approach. So thanks so much for being here. I can't wait to hear what your experiments with the asanas yield, and whether you've had similar experiences with conventional alignment, really, not being the medicine, not being what works. And You know, of course, there's the tension between, you know, those places that our body sort of naturally falls into due to habitual patterns or due to hypermobility. So we don't want to like fall into those. I'm falling into one of mine right now. So it's this constant modulation of effort and ease. And a lot of times, you know, attention to the details of alignment is really good and it comes from a good place. But for a lot of us, if there's something to do, we like overdo it. Like, if there's an alignment cue to do, I'm gonna like make that my only mission. And the idea is to like relax the reins enough so that you can still feel breath moving your body, so we don't cut ourselves off from the breath through the alignment. So that's the idea. I hope it helps. It's helped me. I love you all. Jai.